So I did one of these back in the beginning of the year, just like a classic little sit-down life update. And I thought it might be nice to now, before autumn, do like a mid-year update, like money, burnout, David, work, life, stress, just what has been going on and what things have been getting better or worse since, back in January. Let's start with that horrible little word, burnout. I told you in January that I've been flirting with like a low-key case of burnout, not like a clinical one, but that feeling of exhaustion and like your brain and body are both taking a toll from stress and overworking. So my mission this spring was to calm down and work less and like let my brain just rest up. So my friends, have I succeeded in this? I would say yes and no. Have I worked less? I mean, no, I haven't. I think I have clocked as many hours as last autumn or the spring before that or the one before that. And yes, I do still feel overworked, let's be honest about that. The difference this spring though, which is the good news, is that like my workflow has changed. So the way I work looks different. And although I clock as many hours, like each hour, each day feels a little bit calmer and happier and more sustainable. Still too much work, but like having fun while doing it, that's how spring has been. So I can't say that my brain is rested. It still feels really tired, but it doesn't feel as stressed or worried or pulled in 100 different directions constantly, like putting out fires. It feels more focused and calmer. So this is a step forward, surely, don't you think? Now, the next step for autumn is to work less, to clock fewer hours. Do you think I can do it? Well, I'm going to really try. To be continued. But what about you? How is your brain doing? Can you relate to just like cramming in too many hours in a day? Or have you managed to like build a week routine that's just like calm and reasonable? I want to give a big thank you to BetterHelp for being a paid partner in this video. We are now halfway through 2024 and I'm adamant that I won't overwork or exhaust myself this summer. But it sort of comes with the territory of running your own business, that constant feeling of, never-ending to-do lists and juggling multiple tasks simultaneously that can make it like really challenging for my mind to sort of disconnect from work. I understand that many of you are dealing with demanding jobs or staying on track with your studies. It's so difficult not to become stressed and lose sight of the essential aspects of life, isn't it? And balancing on that like thin line on the way to burnout. Regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just going through a tough time of keeping everything together sometimes, therapy can be a help to give you the tools to approach your life in a different way. And that's why I'm excited to today be teaming up with BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy accessible. And this is such an important job because finding a therapist can be hard. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a credentialed therapist in as little as a few days, though you'll usually be matched within 48 hours. So if you're feeling like maybe it would be good for you to talk to someone and you want to give BetterHelp a try, it's easy to sign up. You just answer a few questions and BetterHelp will match you to a professional who has years of experience helping people with struggles, probably just like yours. So click the link in my description or visit betterhelp.com/mustard. This link also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so you can connect with a therapist and see whether it's something that's helpful to you and your situation. You can do it all from your phone or computer via phone call or video chat or messaging, however you feel most comfortable. So if you are considering online therapy with BetterHelp, click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/mustard. Thanks again to BetterHelp for supporting this channel, and now let's get back to the video. I know this has been quite a tough year for many when it comes to money. David and I have been lucky, considering that we are two full-time self-employed creatives, that we have been able to pay our bills and everything so far completely fine. But we have definitely also noticed that the economy has changed quite a lot. We make much less money than before and our mortgage has gone up with 30% because of the interest rates just skyrocketing. So we are being careful, just in case, because who knows what this autumn will be and next spring. we never know how many sponsors we'll book and how much money we will make from like month to month. And also, being an author is so weird because you usually get paid so ridiculously far in the future for the work you do today. So we're trying to be a bit careful, and honestly, we're just like beyond grateful that we have managed to get to this point, like where we have a flat that we've bought and renovated strictly with money from our creative work. Well, and from borrowing from the bank, but whatever. So I just feel like so privileged, and I don't like really need anything more. Like if we can keep this life up, if we can just stay here and be a little bit careful with money and live exactly like we do now for, you know, ever, that would be fucking blissful. Of course, like if we signed a big contract for something in the future, it would be nice to have like a little summer cottage in Sweden, for example. Like, it's not that we don't have dreams, but honestly, if life stays exactly as it is now, really, I will count myself insanely lucky. But who knows what next year will bring? Like, we don't know anything about our financial situation 2025 yet. So please, my friends, keep clicking our videos, will you? Every click helps pay our mortgage. Now, isn't that strange to think about? But it's true, like you are supporting the Mustard household right now by watching this video. But enough about me. How are you all feeling about money? I've heard some heartening stories about people feeling like things are stabilizing and getting better, but at the same time, you hear about people losing their homes and their jobs all the time too. So I'm hoping that all of you watching are doing okay, that you're like able to make do, and that your rent or mortgage hasn't gone up as much as ours. But I think, like, you know, honestly, as long as we have a roof and a safe home and enough money to buy food and pay our bills, we are the lucky ones. Like, having a bit of disposable income is of course lovely, but let's remember, it is disposable. Like, considering where the world is right now and what's been going on these last few years, a bit of perspective is good here, I think. And in general, like this spring, summer, I've just been so saddened by how horrible the world really can be. It's been just devastating, hasn't it? And I know that you've been feeling the same. And like, I don't want to dwell too much on sadness here today. So I just want to say like thank you to everyone who has like showed empathy and solidarity and, you know, humanness in all this. Like, it's been heartening to talk to so many of you online and, you know, seeing how many of us there are who like won't stand for violence and genocide. So love to every single one of you who has spoken up online. But speaking of money, I don't know, maybe it would be interesting to talk a little bit about that in terms of like my writing, like how it works with getting paid when you sell a novel. So every country is different, of course, but here in the UK, the most common process is to have a literary agent. Mine is called Peter and is a brilliant gentleman who sold my book to my UK publisher Scepter and to a bunch of international publishers too. And for that, he takes 15 to 20% of whatever the book sells for. And that amount that it sells for, I get that as an advance. So when it comes to my UK publisher, it's a bit complicated because the advance is not actually that much in advance. I got paid a quarter of the advance when I signed the contract, then another quarter when I handed in the finished edited manuscript after working with my editor, then another quarter when the hardback came out, like more than a year later, and then the final quarter when the paperback came out just the other week. So more than 2 years after getting the offer from them is when I get my final payment of the advance. Then you have to sell enough books to pay out that advance, and when you do, you get a royalty paid once or twice per year, depending on the country and the publisher. But to be honest, I write literary fiction, which in contrast to commercial fiction, sells in like much fewer copies. So most authors writing literary fiction like me never earns out their advance. So the advance is the full amount that they will get paid for that book. Does that make sense? I'm not sure if you're interested in like how it is to publish a book or how I got a contract to begin with, but if you are, let me know and I can do a video about all the, you know, juicy book industry stuff for you. Okay, so I think just a couple of days after this video goes live, David and I are going on a long and much needed trip to Sweden. 3 weeks, how does that sound? We're going to 1 wedding, 2 birthday parties, 2 summer houses, 3 different cities. We're gonna meet 2 cats and 1 dog and swim in many, many lakes. I mean, End of August is not the nicest time to go to Sweden. It will feel like autumn already and probably be quite cold. But we didn't decide the date for that damn wedding, so we just had to like plan everything around that date. Never mind, we will swim anyway, cold or not. And we haven't been back in Sweden since, I think, last summer, is it? Can that be true? I didn't like realize that we haven't been back for a full year. Hasn't this year, since like last summer, swooped by so incredibly quickly? I'm actually a little bit shocked. So there are many faces that I look forward to seeing and many cat tummies that I look forward to rubbing, you know? And can I just say, one of the most delightful things every single time we go back to Sweden, one of the things that I always look forward to the most, weird or not, I don't care. It's the beautiful Swedish supermarkets. They are so lovely and so well stocked and they smell so nice. I can't wait to like peruse the vegan aisle and like see what new products have shown up this past year since we last visited. I'm getting all nostalgic now, that's for sure. One of my favorite things every summer is that like getting a break from the everyday routine, like work stress and email inbox, is that you automatically get this like perspective on your life simply because you take a step back a little bit, you know what I mean? So I always feel every single summer that I get some small but quite invaluable epiphanies on my life and what I want and what I don't want to like implement during autumn later. Or at least I try to implement them, I don't always succeed, but summer isn't over yet, so I'm not quite sure what the end product of this summer perspective will be. I definitely think I need those like 3 weeks in Sweden to really get out of mundanity and like the everyday rut. But I will keep you posted once I'm back. Usually it's something like work less, follow passions, make up more with David, you know, that type of thing. And David's summer epiphany is usually like, let's not start any more projects, please. Like, he usually tells us to calm down. So we will see about that, David, my good sir, once we come back from Sweden. One thing that's been on my mind this spring and summer quite a lot is the idea of aspiring to do something and then how to react whether you succeed or fail at like fulfilling that aspiration. So like if I have a dream scenario for my career, for example, something very tangible that I'm working towards, like finishing my second novel and selling it to my UK publisher, for example, is like the harder I aspire to reach that goal, the more I care about the outcome being positive or negative. Basically, the harder I try and the more passion I feel when working towards that dream, the happier I will get when I succeed, and of course the sadder I will be if I fail. I mean, that's no news, it kind of goes without saying. But yesterday I had a long phone call with a friend and she said that now, at the place she's at with her career, she has decided to like simply care less. She still has aspirations, but she no longer wants to care so much that the stress and fear and worry about failing affects her mental well-being. So she wants to care less, even though that means being less happy about her successes, and even if it means never reaching as far because she just doesn't have the passion to work as hard and try as much and be as strategic. How do you feel about all this? Are you a person who cares too much or too little or like just a medium amount? I've always been the person who cares to an extreme, almost dangerous extent, and I'm very certain that David is nodding his head behind the camera right now, but I'm very certain that the only reason I have this as my job and that I have a book deal to begin with is because I do care to this extreme extent. Is it stressful? Of course it is. Do I get sadder when I fail because I care this much? I get devastated, but then I get back on it and try again. And I don't think that I'm ready to make the decision my friend has made about simply focusing yourself to care less as a conscious decision to protect yourself emotionally from the stress and worry. I'm too obsessed with my work to do that. And also I'm too curious because I'm dying to know just how far I can push this career if I keep going at it. But you know, I might get to the point where the caring and the obsession becomes a bit too much to handle. Have you ever felt that like you want something so much that it becomes too painful after a while? I think my friend is definitely like the healthy and reasonable one out of the two of us, but I don't know, what can I say? Like, I've never been a reasonable person, just ask David. But let's give it a few months, shall we? Let's do like another live update and see where I'm at on the burnout, caring too much, worrying about failure scale, and maybe it's time by then to listen to the wiseness of my dear friend. Or to you for that matter, because please tell me, what do you think about this? Is it possible to care too much, or should we embrace our passions wholeheartedly? I'm dying to hear your perspective, because frankly, you really are quite a clever bunch usually, so please give me your advice and counsel and highly intelligent thoughts. I always love it when you do. Also, give me a like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and for those of you who are curious about this debut novel I keep talking about, I leave links with worldwide free shipping in the description. Oh, and a little gentle reminder, if you're considering online therapy with BetterHelp, click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/mustard. Thanks again to BetterHelp for supporting this channel. That's it for me for today. Thank you so much for letting me vent and talk about, all the stuff that has been going on in life and, what's in my brain for the moment. So talk to you very soon. Okay, bye.